Hello my friends, today I prepared two awesome progress bar for you. First one is the regular line progress bar. And the second one is the circular SVG progress bar. And they are not just useless designs, I know everyone can do this, but they are 100% dynamic. What I mean by that? They are using dynamic percentages. I created here a fake percentage and we are using these values. And if I change them, it's gonna move according to this array and its length. Let me show this. There are 10 items here. It means it's gonna take 10 seconds. And every second we will use these percentages. It's kinda real-life data uploading simulation. When you upload your files to your server or AWS or Firebase or whatever, during uploading you have some real-time percentages and you can integrate them here easily and super quickly, so it's gonna be really useful for you. I hope you will enjoy this. If you are ready, let's get started. Okay, firstly, what I'm gonna do is creating here a div, and it's gonna be progress bar. And inside this, I'm gonna create another div, and it's gonna our progress, which is our progress indicator. And after this container, I'm gonna create a span. It's gonna be our loading text. Let's write here loading for now. Okay. So let's go to style CSS and give some width and height for this progress bar. I will say width 350 pixels and height 50 pixels. And I will give some background color, something like gray. It's gonna be softer of course, but first let's check. Okay, so I'm gonna center this container. We worked with flex boxes in last two videos. I'm gonna use another thing right now. I'm gonna use position absolute. And if I say here top 0, bottom 0, left 0 and right 0, and when I say margin auto, it's gonna be centered. Maybe I can give some border radius 30 pixels, something like that. I'm gonna change this color. It's gonna be really soft gray, something like that. But it's too thick. I'm gonna change this. It's gonna be 10 pixels. Okay. So after this, I'm gonna arrange this text. I will give some width and height. It doesn't matter. We will use this because of absolute positioning. I will say font size 30 pixels. Let's check first. Okay. And I will say again position absolute. I can actually copy this and paste here. As you can see, it's on this div. So I will give some margin here. Good. Let's make this progress right now. I will come here and say progress. And it's gonna be with 10 pixels for now. It's gonna be changed. Height will be 100%. And background color will be lime green and border radius again 30 pixels. Okay, if I change here, it's gonna be moved like that. And when it comes to 100%, it's gonna be 350 pixels or just 100%. So I'm gonna use this percentage. If I say 10%, 20%, 30%, it's gonna be move like that. So in the initial state, it's gonna be 0. So before JavaScript, I can give some pseudo animation here. I will say animation move 3 seconds and linear. And keyframes, this animation name, and I'm gonna say to with 100%. Let's check. Okay. Awesome. If you wanna learn more about these animations, you can check the link in the description below. You will find an awesome course there. So I'm gonna create a JavaScript file. I'm coming here and say app.js. And first I should define in the HTML. I will say script and source app.js. Okay. Firstly, I want to show you something new. I will say const interval and set interval. And this is a function which we can define our function inside and run this function in specific time. I will say here 1000 millisecond, which means a second. And I will come here and say console.log hello. Let's see. Inspect console. As you can see, it writes here hello in every second, unless we don't stop it. If I say here 2 seconds, 1, 2, 1, 2, as you can see, it's every 2 seconds. So how I'm gonna stop this? I can write here first, maybe let I equals 0. And in every loop, I can say I++, and after this, I can say if I equals maybe 5, clear interval, and our interval name. Interval. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it stopped. So this is how interval works. So how I'm gonna use this? Firstly, I want to choose my progress div and my loading span. So I'm gonna write here const progress. I will say document query selector, and I will write my class name progress. And I will do the same thing for the loading text. It's gonna be loading. Okay, so before starting this interval, I'm gonna define here I again, it's gonna be 0, and const interval, or whatever you name it, doesn't matter. I will say set interval, and it's gonna work every 1 second. So I can change this progress style here. Style width, and let's say 50%. As you can see, after 1 second, it shifted to 50%. Of course, it should be dynamic, so we can increase this every 1 second. So I'm gonna come here and create some fake percentage. Fake upload percentage. And I'm gonna create an array here. I'm gonna define some numbers here, some percentages, 10%, 25, maybe 40. It can be slowed down after this, 60, 90, and 100. You can write here whatever you want, doesn't matter. And I defined 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers here. So it means it's gonna take 10 seconds, because every stage will be 1 second. So if I come here and say, instead of this percentage, I could write here fake upload percentage and take this first element, because I is 0 first. And after this, I can increase this I, and I will write here percent, of course. Let's try. As you can see, it's moving what we defined in the percentage array. Awesome. And I can change this loading text. I will write here loading, because we chose here. And I will write here inner HTML, and it's gonna be fake upload percentage again, and plus %. I can write here same actually. Okay. Let's see. As you can see, our text is changing. But as you can see, it's undefined right now. That because our I number is still increasing. There is no stop point. So I will come here and say if I equals our fake upload percentage and length. Right now I can stop this function. I will come here and say clear interval and our interval name, and here I can write this here, and inside I can say maybe completed. Let's try. Perfect. But there's a problem here. It's shifting to right. That because we defined some specific width and height here. So I will make this max content and same. Let's see right now. Okay, it looks good. Let's try again. So what I did here, I said fire this function in every 1 second and change this style width of this progress according to these numbers in every second. This inner HTML allows us to change our text inside any HTML item. So I write inside fake upload percentage these numbers and %. I can write here whatever I want, as you can see. Okay, and when this I reach to our length, which is 10 here, and this interval will stop and inner HTML will be completed. It's really easy. Of course, it was just a fake one. When you create real-world application, you will take this percentage from your server. Okay, that's all for this line progress bar. Let's do something more complicated. So right now, I'm gonna create an SVG here. Let's delete all of this and create an SVG. I highly recommend you to learn this SVG. It's the trend technology to create interactive web pages, animations. You can find a course in the description below also. it's really important to create something animated. Okay, I will give some class name for this also, progress, and I can indicate my width and height here. I will say width 100 pixels and height 100 pixels. And inside this SVG, I'm gonna create a circle. To do that, I'm gonna write here circle. Let's close this. And class name will be progress circle. And right now I should indicate my starting points on the x-axis and y-axis. It's gonna be center x, and it will start from middle of this SVG, which is 50. And for y, it's gonna be same. And I should write here some radius. It's gonna be a radius of the circle. Let's say 30 pixels. If we check it right now, we can't see anything because there is no color. To give some color, we are not using background color. Instead, we are gonna use fill. Let's say red. But first, I'm gonna comment this out because we are using same class name. And here also, let's check. Okay, awesome. So I don't want to fill this circle. Instead, I'm gonna give some stroke. To do that, I'm gonna write here transparent, and I'm gonna give some stroke. Let's check again. As you can see, we have stroke here. I can change the color here and give some stroke width. It's gonna be 5. And right now it's thicker. Okay, I can center this. It was our progress. I will come here and say progress. It's gonna be position absolute again, and top and bottom and left and right. And margin will be auto. Okay, so I wanna write some text inside this circle, not here. To do that, I'm going to SVG again, and after this circle, I'm gonna create a text here. And inside, I can write here whatever I want. Let's say OK, and class name, let's say loading again, and font color will be fill blue, and I should indicate again X and Y axis here, where this text is gonna start. So I'm gonna write here X 50 again, because it's middle of the SVG, and Y 50. If I do this, as you can see, it's not centered. It starts from 0 and 0, but it's going to right side. Okay, let's fix that. If I write here text anchor middle, it's gonna be centered on horizontal, but I should center this also vertically. To do that, I'm gonna write here alignment baseline middle also, and right now it's totally centered. I know it's a little bit confused if you don't know anything about SVG, but it's really important. You should learn it. You don't have to, of course, but it's gonna be a big point for your portfolio. Okay. So what was our class name for this circle? Okay, I'm gonna come here and write something new. I will say stroke dash array, let's say 0, and stroke dash offset 0. As you can see, nothing has changed. So how does stroke dash array and dash offset work? If I write here 10, as you can see, it's our pattern of the dashes. If I write here 20, 40, 100, I'm gonna say 120, 50, 70, and 80. So it's defining our circumference. So how I'm gonna calculate this? How I'm gonna complete this totally? To do that, you can calculate, of course, for writing some math. Circumference. And as you can see, it's 2, p, and r. It's our radius, it's p number, it's a constant, and 2. You can write here and calculate in the app.js, or you can come here and say basically const circumference and document and query selector, and I'm gonna write this class name progress circle. And if I write here get total length, let's write here console.log circumference, and let's check here. We forgot writing here dot. Okay, this is our circumference. So if I write here 189, it's gonna be completed. So I can use this number. So I will use this number here also, and let's check this. It's totally 0 right now. It's our offset of our dashes. So if I reduce this number, let's say 79, 69, 50, 19, something like that. As you can see, it's growing like that. Perfect. So I can use this number also. For the beginning, it's gonna be like that, which is 0. And I don't need this text also. I will delete this. I will write here with inner HTML again. So everything is okay right now in the HTML and CSS. Let's go to app.js and create our functions. So instead of doing like that, I'm gonna copy this and say here const circle, and it's gonna be our query selector. And here I can write circle like that, because I'm gonna use this. So after this, I can choose my loading text again. Actually, I will use all of these things. Let's write here. Okay, as you can see, our fake upload percentage array is same. So let's delete this and create some interval here. I will say again, as we did before, interval, it's gonna be set interval, and again 1 second, and inside this, I'm gonna change something inside this circle. So I will write here circle and style. And what I'm gonna use here, I'm gonna use this stroke dash offset. So I'm gonna write here stroke dash offset. It's not capital, of course. So what I'm gonna write here, remember what we did here? We just reduced this number. So we should calculate our percentages according to this number. It's not like we did this here. It can be a little bit confusing if you are not related with math, but I'm gonna use this circumference and minus fake upload percentage divided by 100, and I will just multiply this with circumference. This is how we calculate this, Because, for example, for the second one, we can't write here 10. And we can't write here 179. We should calculate it. If it's 10%, we should calculate this percentage for this negative one also. Anyway, don't care about this that much. I know it's confusing, but you can find this on the internet. You can just search on the Google. You don't have to invent anything new. Okay, let's check. So something is wrong here. Stroke dash offset. Fake up. Oh, I forgot this array item, of course. And I forgot increasing this I also. Let's check right now. As you can see, it works perfectly. And when it's come to 100%, it's totally completed. Awesome. So I can handle this loading also. I will say inner HTML. And it's gonna be fake upload percentage and I and plus %. And as you can see, it's undefined again because we didn't stop this interval. So let's stop this. I will say if I equals fake upload percentage length, and then I'm gonna stop this interval and also loading inner HTML. And it's gonna be, if I write here completed, it's gonna overflow. So we should write something just short. Okay. That's all. Let's try. Perfect. Let's change this fake upload percentage. I will just say 0, 10 and maybe 100. As you can see, you can write here whatever you want. It's totally dynamic. It's really awesome. And again, if you are confused about this SVG, don't worry, I prepared an awesome SVG course. I highly recommend you to learn it because it's the trend technology. Every big companies uses SVGs and SVG animations. It's really easy, really efficient and super fast, and it allows us to create awesome animations without any limit. So if you want to check this course, you can find in the description below. So we finished our tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this. I would be appreciated if you like this video. If you want to see more tutorials like that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.